Album review. Except it's for a 3-year-old album, Vaundy's 2020 debut Strobo. Believe it or not, this one is still very relevant in the J-pop scene. There's a song on this topping the charts right now, in 2023. This album is still putting in a lot of work for him. Vaundy's one of the biggest rising stars in J-pop right now. He's one of the most streamed artists in Japan and has been blowing up off singles like Chainsaw Blood and Odoriko, both of which are excellent, along with his Kohaku performance, which kind of launched him to the moon immediately. Those singles came out within the last year and a half though, and this is from May 2020. So does it hold up? We start with Audio 001, a 20-second intro that is just random household noises, I think. Nothing important. The first real song is Tomoshiba, which starts out with a little acoustic guitar before transitioning into a more upbeat indie pop song, along with adding some electronics and other stuff. It's pretty solid for what it is, albeit a bit basic. It's pretty catchy and has a nice groove to it, and the chorus works well, although I don't really like the way the song progresses to the ending bit. It sounds kind of bad and forced, and I'm just not a fan. I liked Vaundy's more relaxed vocals and the relative calm of the first half of the track a lot more than what he was going for towards the end, but it's still a decent song though. The next song is the best song on the album, Tokyo Flash. This is the one that kind of initially got Vaundy some attention in like late 2019. This was his first real hit song, and it's really good. It incorporates a lot of city pop elements. It's got a funky and a catchy chorus, a great hook, and some of that classic city pop piano. The song's structured well and has nice transitions between the verses and the choruses. Vaundy also shows his vocal versatility on this song, with the contrast between his deeper singing on the chorus and the high notes that he hits on the hooks. It's definitely a fun song to come back to, and I really recommend this one. Next is Kaiju no Hanauta, the song he played on Kohaku, and then it proceeded to skyrocket to the top of basically every Japanese music chart out of nowhere. For example, here's 2 weeks ago. It's at 54th. Here's last week. It's at 27th. And here's this week. It's at 3rd. This is top 3 on the charts 3 years after release somehow. And I kinda get it. It's good. It's got an epic chorus, and the verses keep up the energy enough to make it feel cool as hell. Vaundy goes back to those high notes on the hook again, and it works pretty well for him. My only issue is that it feels a little repetitive. The verses aren't really given enough time to do anything, and it's just a rush back to that big epic chorus everyone likes. I think the chorus would work better if it was given more time to sit before it was immediately kicked back in, but it's still good though. I get the hype here. Life Hack is the next song, and this one's back to a more low-key affair. More along the lines of Tomoshiba's first half, where it's a nice, laid-back pop song. However, the issue I had with that applies even more so here. It just feels really basic a lot of the time. And unlike that song, the hook isn't as good here. In fact, it just kind of feels like an inferior version of Tomoshiba in pretty much every way. There's also a random sample drop into the chorus at one point that just does not work at all. This isn't really something I'd ever come back to outside of reviewing this album. It does get better on the next song though, Fukakouryoku. Vaundy really abandons the high notes in the first half of the song in favor of a deeper, more gravelly style. He gets a little higher on the hook, but not as much as the earlier songs on the record, and I think this one's better for it. It helps the song stand out and gives it a much more mature tone than earlier songs. It is also kind of repetitive with the chorus, but the chorus is pretty catchy, so it's kind of excusable. He also mixes it up by going back to some normal singing for the second half of the song, but I kind of wish he just stayed with his more gravelly stuff. The bit right before the last chorus also just feels pointless in the grand scheme of things, but I think overall it's still a pretty good song. The next song is Soramimi, which is kind of a low point for the album. It tries a very over-dramatic, overblown chorus, and it just does not work at all. The song tries to go for a more villainy tone with the random evil laughs in the chorus, and the verses try to fit that darker aesthetic, but it doesn't do a lot for me at all. It sounds like a bad, cheesy soundtrack song for some B movie about like vampires or something. It's listenable, but it's not something that's particularly good or interesting in any way. Audio 002 is a little 1-minute interlude with train noise and piano. That's all that happens. You know, if he makes another album, I think he's really got to cut out the interludes. Napori is another laid-back affair with some more modern pop production and a kinda lazy chorus. A lot of the other songs on this album have started laid back and kinda repetitive before evolving over time and mixing it up by the end of the track. Napori does not do that. It's 3.5 minutes of pretty much the same thing with a lazy sounding chorus and production that just does not work. I'm not a fan. The penultimate song,僕は今日も, is the next and by far longest song on the album. It uses this time to take an even slower and more orchestral approach. The chorus is really good here with the more epic, orchestral sounding arrangements, and I think Vaundy's singing during it is noticeably great. My problem with the song is that the verses are really basic though and don't do anything for me. There's also not a lot of congruity between them and the chorus outside of one slow and minimalist and the other is faster and maximalist. I'm really just not a fan of the production choices and general songwriting outside of the chorus here. And the last song in the album is Bye Bye Me, which is a really folksy closer, bringing with it some nature-inspired production. I think Vaundy's melancholic singing style works really well throughout the verses, and the chorus is fine enough. There's just some weird production choices on this that I don't like. The whistling in the post-chorus bit is just a bad idea. And so is the loud clapping that overpowers every other part of the song during the chorus. It makes this feel like some bad barnyard children's music, like I'm listening to the Over the Hedge theme song. Overall, this album is inconsistent, but it shows Vaundy's potential. Potential he would later follow through with on songs like Odorico. Seriously, I love that song. Listen to Odorico, that song is awesome. This dude is blowing up right now and for good reason. There's a great chance he ends up as the next big J-pop star and leading the hopefully incoming wave of J-pop artists going international. Heck, he's already got some international appeal on songs like Tokyo Flash and Chainsaw Blood. I think at this point, he just really needs to drop another album. He releases an album's worth of singles every year at this point, but doesn't actually drop a full album. I think an album is what he needs to fully break through into the international superstar that he really has the potential to be right now. I'll give this album a 6.5 to 7 out of 10. It's inconsistent, but there's definitely some good stuff here. There's also nothing outright bad about these songs for the most part. It's a solid debut, and it gives them a solid platform to build from. Like, comment, sub, all that stuff. I'll keep making these because I have fun. Bye!